Let's face it, hiring help is not easy these days. Let XenTegra Staffing help you find the right person for the right job. Head over to XenTegra.com/XenTegra Staffing to find out more and let us staff your people needs. Welcome to another Citrix Session with your host, Andy Whiteside and Bill Sutton, your source for all things Citrix.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of the Citrix Session. I'm your host, Andy Whiteside. I have with me today, of course, Bill Sutton, Director of Services at XenTegra. Bill, how's it going?
Going well, Andy.
You staying busy and enjoying the work from home, which is pretty much status quo for us, right?
Pretty much status quo. Staying busy, yes, in these strange times.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully everyone's enjoying what we're doing here and getting good value out of it. And, one of the things I want to highlight, we're going to do 2 podcasts this week. And, one of the things I really want to make sure people know is that, XenTegra we've been talking about these topics long before it was business continuity time, whether it's operational efficiencies, cost effectiveness, security posturing, and business continuity and disaster recovery. Just more of the same, right? So it's love to see the story come to fruition. I hate the way it's coming to fruition, but at the same time, it's been part of our vernacular for probably 20 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So, guys, let's talk about one of the challenges. Probably to me, there's 3 major challenges in the world of desktop virtualization, whether it's server desktops or VDI desktop. Number 1 is the need for locally running applications. Citrix and the guys from Res, which is now owned by Ivanti, they kind of solved this a few years back. If you had a Windows endpoint device, you could run your applications locally and do reverse seamless. So if you're in a world of desktop virtualization and you're stuck because you need locally running apps, as long as you're willing to keep Windows on the endpoint, you can have a solution there, which is called reverse seamless, and it's included in the Citrix product set as well as an add-on from the guys from Ivanti. But some of the other ones are bidirectional communication type of things. One of which is meeting. So if you're trying to host a meeting in your virtual desktop and you want the audio and video to both be part of your virtual desktop, or if you're making phone calls using a soft phone. We are lucky enough today to have the guys from Star2Star, David, let me get my last name here, Portnowitz, wrote a blog for Citrix. He works, I think, for Star2Star, but he wrote a blog for Citrix for called the Star2Star offers a Citrix Ready UCaaS solution, which is going to solve some of those conversations I was just alluding to just now, the challenge of doing bidirectional communication beyond chat messages in a virtual app or desktop. So with us we have Mick Morales. Mick, how's it going?
Pretty good, mate. Glad to be on here. Thank you.
So Mick is the Executive Vice President, Channel Sales at Star2Star. I know Mick's got a Citrix background. We know each other from those days. Mick, what's the best way to describe your current role?
I'm effectively responsible for running sales in the mid and enterprise space at Star2Star.
And your background, you were on the Citrix side of things for a bunch of years, right?
Yeah. I moved to Citrix back in 2013. I was there for about 6 years and ran the CSP business. So I'm probably, that's where our history started, right? So I'm sure there's a few callers on here that probably remember that worked with me when I was at the CSP.
Yeah, no, thanks. Glad to have you. And you're the business end of this conversation, right? You're going to keep us straight on what we're talking about and why we're talking about it. And with you, we have Trey Watson, and Trey's the technical side of the conversation, right? Hey, Trey, how's it going?
Good, Andy. Good.
So you're a man after my own heart, right? Senior Vice President of Sales Engineering and Professional Services. So I'm sure you've got some business acumen as well. But you know how the switches are flipped, right?
That's right. It's my responsibility to get all of our products integrated with Citrix Cloud and specifically virtual apps and desktops.
So obviously you're probably on the same page of this need that's been out here for a long time now to be able to solve that bidirectional communication challenge when you're hosting things in a virtual desktop specifically.
Absolutely. It's one of my career goals, in fact. Very excited to see it coming to fruition.
There's definitely a need out there that you guys are helping to solve. So let's jump into this. So it looks like you guys have recently, and by recently I mean probably late last fall or winter, announced a program where you're part of the Citrix Ready program that allows you guys to offer a UCaaS solution that is officially recognized by Citrix as a solution for their customer base. You want to you guys want to lead into how that came about?
Yeah, let me jump into that one. So it's funny, when I was still at the CSP, one of the challenges that I found with a lot of our service providers at the time was that they were hosting solutions for their customers, but there were inherently inefficiencies and engineering costs and quality of service issues around bringing a communication solution and putting it inside a Citrix environment and making that one cohesive end-to-end user solution, which delivered, consistently at the best end user experience, as we all know, all the way through to the application stack, et cetera, right? So that my goal at Citrix at the time was, hey, how do I bring a communication solution into that environment so the channel partners out there could have a more complete solution? Now, obviously, the opportunity arose. I came over to Star2Star, and our philosophy here now is there's an enormous partner base because we're a channel organization. We only work through our channel, and we have a lot of partners out there that have Citrix customers, right? Not necessarily hosting them, but these are customers that have invested, have made a significant investment in transforming their business so that they can work remotely, et cetera, drive productivity and so on. So our approach now is how to take this technology and then make that available inside that Citrix ecosystem so we can enable customers, our partners' customers, to accelerate their return on investment, to drive increased adoption. And as we all know, no one uses a piece of technology unless the end user is excellent, right? The end user experience is excellent, right? So Citrix, they're the leading solution in this space in terms of an end user experience. So from a Star2Star perspective, we've got the best end user experience in terms of how our solution comes together. We know it runs and it's certified to run inside Citrix. By combining the two, we're delivering on an accelerator for that customer base. Our intent is to deliver the best end user experience by combining the strengths of both businesses or both technologies.
So Mick, I love the fact that you focused on the end user there, right? So we can create all kinds of solutions that require them to work a little differently. And if we don't make it so where it fits in their normal day-to-day work and it becomes too complicated for them, if we don't make it easy for them, then we haven't solved their problem. Even Correct. If technical guys, Trey, Bill, myself, think sometimes we solve the problem. If the end user doesn't adopt it, then we haven't really solved the problem.
Yeah. Spot on. And I'll defer to Trey in terms of the back-end elements of this, but we're not only looking at it from the perspective of, hey, you have to have the best voice solution and the best video solution, but in the world of Citrix and the remote worker, it's really about their workloads, their applications that they're also using, right? So our focus is not only about ensuring that we're delivering the best voice solution and the best video solution, their ability to SMS and all the rest of that kind of good stuff and chat and so on. But what's absolutely unique about Star2Star is, one, we own the complete technology stack. So our solution is fully integrated from the phone to the contact center if a customer needs that, all the way through to the video aspect and SMS texting and so on. But we also do something even more unique, right? We take that complete platform. I prefer to think of it as a communication and collaboration suite, and we extend it all the way through to the application. Right. So if an end user is using Salesforce, Sugar CRM, think of the application, either homegrown or commercial off the shelf. Like, we integrate that communication and collaboration all the way through to that application, all inside Citrix. And, I was talking with Trey a few days ago, and I said, hey, listen, maybe I should copyright this. And what we're trying to focus on delivering is the ability for an enterprise to collaborate across organizations, across departments, across applications, across individual human beings that come together to deliver something in a seamless and in a seamless way, which makes it all easy, best user experience, but also to collaborate in context, right? So picture this, you're sitting there at your desktop, You get, you finish a conference call, the system, intelligent workspace, right? And Trey, I'm sure, will expand on this in the work we're doing with Citrix. It automatically tells you, hey, listen, you've got 20 minutes until your next call, right? Do you want to call Andy because you've had 3 calls that you've missed from Andy? Do you want to call him, or do you want to video with him? Let's say I want to video with Andy, right? Andy, I click on you, I video you. You and I start a video conference, but at the same time, it fires off Salesforce, right? Because we have a business relationship. So now I can actually talk to you video conference in context of our business need or business relationship, right? And all of that done seamlessly inside Citrix.
So yeah, that's great, Mick. What's the Citrix side of this equation? Are they actively telling people about what you guys are doing to help solve this challenge that maybe many of them don't even realize they have?
I'll let Trey expand at what's happening at the technical level, because we're doing a lot of work there. But let me just put it in context. We're working with the product teams. We're aligned. We've got a team that Trey's pulled together, and they're doing all the development work. Our goal was really to make a splash at Synergy. But, with that being postponed, changed, we're going to be doing a few other things more remotely with specific partners to get it out there. And, of course, we're going to, our intent is to coordinate a message with Citrix. Trey, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Absolutely, Mick. Thank you. So the concept of collaboration in context is really something that Mick and I have. I mean, it's really what's driving the entire design of the solution, because the beauty of that concept, and we do regularly chuckle that we should copyright it. The beauty of the concept is that we need to focus on the end user experience, and at the end of the day, it's really about improving productivity and moving forward with what the end user needs and how we can address those things. So we have all of the standard, virtual apps and desktops experience and all of these things that Citrix has done well for years and continues to improve upon. But the new intelligent workspace solution changes the way that we work, and Star2Star wants to be a part of that. We're very, very focused on taking the different collaborative environments that we provide directly, for example, telephony or video or SMS or just really those different modalities of communication, and then providing them to the consumer in such a way that they're seeing that information, but in context of what is important to them. And it really is a perfect marriage of the two technologies. The workspace has some artificial intelligence and things like that are happening on the back end to score and rate with some machine learning the different things that are important to the individual user and their experience, but simultaneously allowing them to generate that collaboration, again, in context of what is important to them and what is important to the business. Mick's example was perfect. It really focuses around, I need to speak to Mick about some marketing aspect or something that we're working on. I'm on a call. He is on a call. It's hard for us to get together that day, but 20 minutes pops up between calls for the both of us. And the system just sends me a notification to say, hey, do you want to call Mick? You've got 20 minutes here, and I can hit a button to call him on the phone, or I can hit a button to do a video collab where we can screen share. I mean, the possibilities with that kind of collaboration is extreme. And then taking the platform to the next level, where not only are we simply collaborating, but now we're taking the information, decisions, and the actions that we take out of that collaboration session, and now we're putting them into measurable business processes, whether that be via a CRM or whether that be via a different tool to manage things, production scoring solutions, those types of items. It's really very, very exciting, and the level of integration that we're working with at a Citrix level, I mean, we're working with the top engineers that are building intelligent workspace and we are tying these systems together very, very tightly.
So guys, just real quick, I want to make sure we underscore this point, right? Your world grew up in a world of virtual app and virtual desktop, which this solution definitely works within. And then as Trey was pointing out, the future of work, as Citrix likes to call it, and the ability for workspace and security and analytics and artificial intelligence, that's you guys have kind of brought both those topics up as part of this. And it makes a lot of sense, right? The traditional Citrix use case, you guys are hammering that one, and that's where you grew up. And then the future of how you take what Citrix is trying to do with the workspace and analytics and the future, right? You're part of that story as well. Let me just pause real quick. I'd like to give Bill a chance to jump in every once in a while and comment. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, this is, as you know, Andy, I've been in this field a long time, and this has always been one of those things that we've wanted to offer, but it's always been a challenge. So it's nice to see that not only are we helping Star2Star helping to solve that challenge, but also going beyond and allowing us to leverage it ultimately in the workspace with intelligence, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Bill, you make a very good point there that we're going beyond. I've been discussing this with Michelle, our president and CRO, and of course Trey, et cetera, as we're developing our strategy. We really wanted to redefine what excellence is in terms of communication, collaboration, right? And the primary goal, even though we are living in a crazy time at the moment, and to be perfectly honest, even the things that are happening around us today, the market was already evolving increasingly to remote workers. The millennials, everyone's been talking about, et cetera. The events occurring around us at the moment are really, to be slightly simplistic, maybe oversimplistic, is really an accelerator to what's going to happen in the workforce in terms of change, right? And we want to redefine that in terms of communication and collaboration with a focus not on just a phone, not on just a video and think in silos, but think about how do you enable collaboration across an enterprise to drive productivity, right? Because human beings, if they don't collaborate, you don't get the value of all your employees, right? So by redefining it, I think we're going, we're raising the bar on what someone should be doing inside a Citrix ecosystem.
Absolutely. Yep.
So guys, going back and kind of sticking to the blog a little bit, because that's what we're trying to do, right? Not a little bit, we are sticking to it. But you guys have called out a couple bullets here. Multi-device access. Trey, what are you guys saying there?
Multi-device access is literally that. So our solutions are agnostic. So whether that be the Star2Star product itself or your collaboration suites, you can run our video platform, our telephony platform. You can run it on any device. Location services, all of these things come into play, and Star2Star is uniquely positioned in that space for multi-device access, built-in security, all of these things, vertical specific customization. We have built literally and developed the software that we use on an Android phone for voice. We have built and developed the software that we use on an iOS device for video. So we are able to take into account all of these items that align very neatly with the Citrix ecosystem. So multi-device access, built-in security, cloud storage, multi-factor authentication, all of those things that we all, know and love about the Citrix ecosystem. We extend those into your collaboration, and again, apply all of those items in context. The adaptive desktop, that is purely the CVAD solution, and then vertical specific customization. This is my personal favorite. So all of Star2Star's products, as they've grown and as we've moved, and I'll have Mick talk a little bit more about this, but everything we do is centered around what we call channels, and what most of the market calls channels, but it's really specific to our partners. So we don't sell directly to customers. We do everything through a partner system. So the fact that CVAD lines up so well with vertical specific customization and our product set lines up so well, it's really a very powerful solution, either A, for a partner, or B, for an enterprise where branding becomes very, very important. Mick, did you want to add a little bit to that?
This is specifically around CPaaS, Trey, in terms of how we're integrating into third-party applications.
I think it's kind of across the board.
Yeah. So to that point, it's interesting. We are, as I said earlier on, we're focused on collaboration, right? Of course, video, phone, and all of that is important. I never want to kind of trivialize those because they're absolutely critical. But equally so is understanding that application workload ecosystem out there, right? So we're working with partners today, everything ranging from Internet of Things, just in discussions at the moment and planning around that through artificial intelligence. Got a couple of companies pinging us about that. But more importantly, we're interested in homegrown applications and productivity tools that our customer base is using out there, right? So part of our strategy, of course, is a low-code, no-code integration. We're looking at how we can automate workflows so that you can get messaging out there, automated messaging and escalations as part of a business rule that our customer wants to implement, right? And then extend that all the way through to, not the traditionals that everyone would expect, right? Workday, Salesforce, anyone who's been to a Citrix event always sees Workday, Concur, etc. But we want to push it beyond that. At the moment, we're working with a partner who has a homegrown SaaS-based application for HOAs. Right? In the current environment, the board in those HOAs, if you're in South Florida, or those Miami skyscrapers, they're all customers to this particular provider, right? Those boards can't meet now. All right, so they want to do a video conference. So we're integrating our video solution and communication solution into that stack. But we're going to then extend it all the way through to the users so they can vote and collaborate as people who live within that constituents within that HOA, right? So we're going beyond, again, the traditional space that we would expect someone like a Star2Star to be, to extend that into the ecosystem of what drives productivity for employees and businesses out there, whether they're SMBs or whether they're mid-market players, right? Everything is about how do we drive productivity and help these customers grow their revenue base.
So guys, let me take...
Hopefully that was enough there. Trey, do you want me to expand on it in any particular way, or sorry?
No, I think that's good.
So guys, I do want to go back to couple quick technical comments. The idea is there a client-side application that's necessary to leverage the solution?
In respect to the telephony endpoint, there is, and that's because of regulatory requirements and things of that nature from the FCC. As far as video, chat, all of these other items, there is not. It is all web-based and very, very, very smooth. So there are some integrations that are applicable to video as well as to telephony in the CVAD space, and that's where the Citrix Ready product or platform comes in play. But we're working to leverage HDX down to the local device and those types of things. But it's also a little bit more than that. So from not to get too technical, and Andy, you tell me if I need to kind of back up a little bit. But we develop everything with a newer signaling protocol called WebRTC. So WebRTC is used by things like YouTube and very, very few phone providers, actually, us being one of the first ones. But it's becoming very strong in the market because of the way that the internet is changing and the way that, with the unprecedented events of late, the way the internet is going to change even more. So it handles signaling and things of that nature very differently than the typical protocol, which is SIP, which is what has always blocked us as Citrix providers from being able to give a good end user experience for most streaming technologies. So our telephony endpoints that operate in the desktop, the desktop soft phone, those items, the video, they all operate underneath the hood on WebRTC. So it doesn't have an issue with things like firewalls. You don't have to deal with a bunch of port forwarding and things of that nature. So it's really a very, very powerful solution from that perspective, but it also opens us up for different codecs, which is really the technical definition of the media stream. So those codecs open up, and we're able to leverage very, very modern things. As an example, Opus, very strong forward error correction, very, very difficult to break down with things like, for example, packet loss or latency, jitter introduction. All of those things damage any type of media, whether it's video or voice. Opus addresses that beautifully and gives that, again, what it all comes back to, gives that really, really superior user experience. We then take that one step further, and working with the Citrix team to build in deep integrations so that we're not only leveraging those codecs in that virtual workspace, we're also leveraging the local computer's ability to handle things like pass-through and audio redirection and all of these unique features that Citrix is able to provide. Putting those two things together, we really believe that I mean, it's an unprecedented time for all of us with the situation that we're in the United States right now. But it's also really, really powerful from a Star2Star point of view that we're able to empower these people to actually have a good experience, whether they're talking about telephony or video or any of these other collaboration solutions within their Citrix desktop, where they're continuing to function and work just as though they were sitting in their office, even though they're sitting in their home office.
Trey, that's fun. That's what this. Hopefully, our audience is looking to go technically deeper there. The quick question, going back to the endpoint devices. You guys have the client software necessary for most of the major operating systems, I assume?
Absolutely, supported on all major operating systems. So Linux, Mac, Windows, across the board.
And I do want to highlight something really quickly about you guys that I really like, and that is the idea that if you have, as a end user or as a partner working with end user, an application that needs to be integrated into this, that's an area of expertise you guys bring to the equation as well, right?
That's correct. So we have another platform that's really core to the entire business. We call it StarPass, and it consists of quite a few pieces, but at its core, it is an API set that talks to our platform, and then on the, if you think of it kind of the right hand and the left hand side, right? On the right hand side, it talks to the Star2Star systems, video, voice, chat, whatever, and then on the left hand side, it talks to whatever system you want to integrate with. So, for example, we have a Salesforce integration. Took my professional services team about 3 weeks to develop that deep integration and turn up a full Salesforce app that is completely customizable via a workflow management engine by the customer. So, some people will do heavy customization in the Salesforce, and what we really wanted to do is we wanted to build a system that was centered around low code, no code, that would allow that end user, power user, to go in and modify their workflow, but still be able to talk to their custom, implementation of Salesforce, if you will. Andy, does that make sense?
No,
something we can go deeper there?
No, it definitely does. I mean, if it's a situation where if a question arises about how am I going to integrate this into an application, you guys have a staff of developers that can probably integrate this with almost anything. It's certainly worth the conversation, right?
Yeah, and almost anything is really a very accurate statement. I mean, we already have over 200 integrations in place. You can find those on the Star2Star website, and my team is constantly building new ones every day. And what's really unique about that, Mick made a comment earlier, custom solutions. So there's a lot of these, older systems that are in place, and they're heavily embedded. And that's one of the very unique things about StarPass is that as long as I can put something between that system and me that I can talk to and that can talk to that system, then we can integrate it. And there's a lot of places that's just not possible. We have integrations that are working on not that it's old technology, but it's not commonly used technology. I mean, we have integrations that are working on mainframes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, let me let you chime in again here, and then we'll head back over to Mick, and then we'll start to head towards the finish line.
Yeah, I kind of had the same reaction you did when he mentioned mainframes about wow. But are we talking here, Trey, about? I presume we're talking about more than just screen pops here. We're talking about deeper integration with these types of applications, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that's a really good one actually for us to talk about. So in that environment, obviously, a mainframe isn't going to have a REST API or something like that I can work with, and that's going to be a system that's going to be operating locally.
Right.
So what we've done is we've worked with their development team, and we built kind of an intermediary piece of software with them that talks to their mainframe and then does posts and gets from us, and those are just HTTP verbs,
right?
That grab data that's pertinent, and then put that back into the mainframe, or take data from the mainframe and push that up to us so that we can then do notification solutions.
Right. Interesting. Good stuff.
Well, guys, this has been great. Covered a lot of ground here, and I'm sure there's plenty more we could cover. It definitely is it's just been kind of a sticking point for me for the past 10 years of trying to figure out how to get collaboration beyond chat into a virtual session. And then, as you guys alluded to with the workspace with intelligence piece, there's a whole another level of service we're going to be able to take this to. Mick, any closing comments here?
One, I'd like to say that we're really excited to be working, obviously, with XenTegra. We think this is an amazing market, both in terms of the negatives that are happening today, and we want to be able to help our fellow citizens out there. So over the next coming weeks, you'll see some interesting announcements coming out of Star2Star in the areas of video, collaboration, etc. But in the meantime, listen, if out in the listening world, if you're a Citrix user, and you're focused on how you drive that productivity, how you drive that user experience to drive adoption, etc., and you're all about, how do you bring human beings together to collaborate effectively and efficiently across a business, speak to XenTegra, speak to Star2Star. This is the solution. We've spent a lot of cycles. We're excited. We're doing a lot of development with Citrix, and we're here to help.
No, that's great. Hey, Trey, anything else from your perspective?
No, I don't think there's much more that I would add, but with perhaps the exception that we are very, very unique in the space. We are the only soft phone that is Citrix Ready certified, and there's a lot of challenging things going on in the world right now, and being able to communicate is one of those things that everybody should just be able to do. And we really are here, as Mick said, to help. And if you're trying to solve these problems, reach out to XenTegra and or us, and let's figure out how to solve these problems, because we're here, we're ready to help.
So I do want to highlight something you said about being the only ones doing this. And the reason I see that is because your typical soft phone player, the way they architect their solution, where they would have to go over the ICA protocol and to the endpoint, basically hairpinning is what we call it in the industry. Right. I think those guys have a little bit of a problem because you have to totally look at this a different way. You guys have looked at it this different way from day one, which allows you to do this, whereas your traditional soft phone player would have to re-architect, and it just really isn't something they care that much about doing. At least that's my opinion and perspective.
I would agree with you, Andy. I don't know that it's whether they care or not. It's just it's a big undertaking to most of our competition out there resell a soft phone client, and a soft phone being an application you install that works like a phone, right? They haven't written the code. We saw this. We've been working in this direction for years. WebRTC is the solution that solved the problem for us, because all of those soft phones that are being resold and being rebranded, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not bad pieces of software, but they use a protocol that is completely uncompatible or incompatible with Citrix. I mean, SIP will work if you're in a very, very, very controlled local LAN environment. But as we all know, that's not the way the world's going. We're all moving to remote workforce, and SIP just doesn't play well in that space. Again, we're uniquely positioned because of the choices that we made and the forethought that we had to be able to solve this problem for folks.
Yeah, I've got one of my, what we call around XenTegra Andyisms, and that is, and this has been killing me for years, the idea that we need to build skyscrapers to get work done, or we need to be in the office to get work done, is so counterintuitive if you just stop and think about it. But yet I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. There's places like Nashville, Tennessee, and Austin, Texas. I mean, there's skyscrapers going up everywhere. And I struggle with that. I just don't think that's going to be the future. And I think a lot of what's happening now is kind of proving that out. But hey guys, I appreciate it. This has been great. We have some work to do with you guys to get things going, but as a solution that's focused on this space, I'm really glad to have you guys in the industry.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
All right, guys. Hey, I guess, Bill, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask if you had any closing remarks on your side.
Nope, you captured it for me. I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, let's get back to our normal day-to-day stuff. I appreciate you guys joining us. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Andy.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Citrix Session with your hosts, Andy Whiteside and Bill Sutton. A special thanks to our guests. Podcast produced by Pete Downing. Head over to XenTegra.com/podcast to listen to all podcasts in this series.